Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new podcast, episode 59, I think, of Knowing Wheel. I would know what episode it is if we were recording this on a Monday. Sadly, this week, as you probably already gathered, it's currently Friday when this podcast is going out. Now, I was already, last Sunday night, I was tuckered up in bed. I thought, great, I get to record the podcast with Jamie tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. And then
it's a highlight a week, isn't it?
And the 10:30 at night, what text do I receive?
Yeah, I told Matt I was not here. So, yeah, I've been away since Monday morning. It's now Thursday evening as we record this. And, yeah, I've only just got back from being away. So, apologies that the podcast is late. It is, well, it's entirely my fault. I was going to say it's basically my, yeah. But I had a good time, so there we go.
Exactly. I mean, for a bit of context here, like I said, I wake up for work and go to work at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning. This was already 10:30 at night, and Jamie goes, I'm going on holiday tomorrow. We either record tomorrow morning or we record now. Now,
I think either of those are good solutions, really.
I mean, either way, I think the podcast on a whole, obviously, the videos are normally about an hour long. Generally, I think the whole process takes about 3 hours for me.
Well, we spend about another hour just talking.
Yeah, there's about half an hour of notes planning, about an hour of rambling, obviously an hour show, and then obviously I've got to edit it, upload it, do clips, everything like that. So it was not going to happen on Sunday night or at 3 a.m. on Monday morning. No. So yeah, we are going to completely blame Jamie for that one. Let's try and get it back on track then. Ready for this week, of course. If you're new around here as well and you do go on to enjoy, make sure you check out this, the Spotify playlist. That'll be linked down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Check out Bybit as well if you're interested. Formula One merch. We've also got Manscaped, the podcast clips, everything like that. There's so much to go check out now. We're living the dream at the moment on the channel. And have I forgotten anything, Jamie, as my PA?
I don't think you did, actually. So
no,
well done.
I've done pretty well this week. Let's get in, though, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekend. Of course, we are well aware. It's Canada today. It starts. Yeah, pretty much in a few hours, Canada starts. So, although we're going to run through last weekend, it'll probably be a bit more of a rattle through procedures because, of course, it was near enough a week old now, and everyone, of course, knows what happened. But before we even got to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Jamie, Williams got a fine for spending too much money, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, and it's also, how's that going to help? Because now they've spent more money. So, it's weird. I don't know. I haven't really looked into how the budget cap is getting,
it's inflation, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know how it's getting enforced, really, but if they're keeping track of, spend now, rather than just at the end of the year if you spent over, whatever it is, $50 million.
50? 150?
How much is it? 150. Well, I was
going to say $50 million. That's like HRT's budget.
Yeah, so I don't know how they've already broken that, because they surely haven't gone over the whole limit, and I didn't know they were enforcing it.
I'm guessing they've used more of a quota than they should have been allowed to.
Maybe, yeah.
But, I mean, in many ways, it's probably quite a good thing, actually, isn't it? Because you think Williams, I would have expected them to go, right, we've got $150 million we can spend this year, and Dorothy and Captain go, they break the piggy bank with the hammer, and there's 62 pence in there for their 2022 car. So I guess it's reassuring that Williams are in a position where they could spend more money. Yeah. It's a shame the car pace isn't proving it still.
No, neither are, one of the drivers, but...
No, we'll discuss that later on. We'll discuss that definitely later on. Of course, the other big talking point, though, as has been for a lot of the year so far, was, Baku is pretty well known for a huge 2-kilometre front straight. What's that going to do to the porpoising? And safe to say, for some drivers, it didn't go particularly well by the end of the weekend. No. But again, we'll talk about that a little bit further on into the episode. Of course, as well, Baku this weekend, we were leading up Hamilton. 15 years since that first race victory back in Canada, Jamie. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Wow, I don't remember that race, but...
Do you not? It was the same race where Takuma Sato in a Super Aguri overtook Fernando Alonso.
Yeah. And Davidson should have been on the podium, but he hit a groundhog in another Super Aguri, so he had to retire.
Was he meant to be on the podium? I know they were pretty quick that weekend.
He was ahead of Wirtz, and Wirtz came third that race.
Yes, he did, because that was just, obviously, you had, as well, the massive Robert Kubica crash. I think that's the big thing a lot of people remember as well from the Canadian Grand Prix. But that weekend was just carnage.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it was 2 cars disqualified for ignoring the red light at the pit lane.
Yes, yeah, the last 2 disqualifications, if I remember correctly.
That's not due to that reason, probably, but not.
No one's been disqualified from an F1 race since, I don't think.
What, black flagged mid-race?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Like, definitely people have been disqualified after
the race. Post-race, yes.
Like, so many times.
Yeah. But during a race, that's the last time black flags have been used, isn't it?
Fair.
Back when they used to be really, really strict on the pit stop procedures. We have gone very off course immediately.
Very off tangent immediately.
Let's bring it back into Baku then, Jamie. Of course, as well, Pride Month this month,
Mm-hmm.
We all love a bit of rainbows on the cars. Alpine rocking some on the rear wing. I love as well the Mercedes style that they're featuring over the next few
really
Grand
cool,
Prix.
actually, yeah.
And I think very, very important they do that at a track like Baku as well.
In Azerbaijan, yeah.
Very...
Hamilton's very good at that sort of thing, isn't he? With his helmet for Qatar and Saudi last year as well. So yeah, raising awareness, important.
Exactly. And then of course, as Baku often proves, a lot of people I think it's often misunderstood, isn't it, Baku? Because people sort of go, oh, it's another street track. Well, Monaco wasn't carnage, so Baku won't be, or if it is carnage, it'll be carnage for the same reasons if it's a street track. A lot of people kind of forget that Baku is a really difficult track to set the car up for.
Yeah, and it can be really hit and miss with whether races are good or bad.
Yes.
Like, we see it in F2 a lot over the, quite often at most F2 street tracks anyway, it's either completely dead or the moment there's one safety car restart, everything goes mental because they're not very good at safety car restarts. So it's kind of the same in Baku, because even back in 2018, it wasn't a particularly good race until there was a crash and then everything kicked off. So,
but that's kind of happened every year though, isn't it?
Yeah. So this year, obviously, it's 6 days late or 5 days late. So we all know it wasn't a particularly brilliant race.
No.
Because there was no first crash, so he just kept basically how it was. So yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just a quick mention, obviously, of F2. Unfortunately, this weekend I couldn't watch any of the races. I did, however, see Ralph Boschung try to pull out a GTA move.
Oh, that was insane. He should be getting so many penalty points for that. That was mad. And he's got, 100 races in F2 or something?
He's the most experienced driver in F2 now, isn't he?
And he literally put 2 drivers in a wall without even thinking about it in the exit of turn 1. It was very
I don't think
scary.
he did it on purpose.
Well, it looked like it was either a massive lack of awareness or it was deliberate trying to run him out of road and forgot that there was a barrier sticking out.
I don't know. I think the one I saw, it looked like he was understeering a little bit and then he got kind of stuck to the car on the outside and then couldn't do a lot else.
Yeah, maybe. But Bollock Bassi was fine, luckily.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, not the best driving from Ralph Boschung.
Bollock Bassi's dad, on the other hand, wasn't fine.
No, he was very annoyed, wasn't he?
Yeah, a very angry man.
Yeah. But where were we?
We were talking about free practice, though. Yeah. Exactly. I think, again, a lot of people sort of misunderstand. Baku is a really odd track because obviously you need low downforce for that huge straight, but then that makes all of the corners incredibly difficult because there's not really many high-speed corners, especially around obviously the first half of the lap. Really, the only high-speed corners you've got is, turn 13, 14, and then the final 2 corners. Every other corner around here is pretty low speed, and that
13,
makes it
14,
very difficult.
All 4 of those corners are completely flat, basically. So they're not really corners. It's just low speed 90 degrees, or you're flat out. So it's difficult to get on top of. And we saw many different approaches taken. Particularly, what Alpine sticks out to me is they just set up a dragster for the whole race weekend and were very annoying to a lot of drivers during the race because they, even without DRS, they were just still matching the speed of the car behind them with DRS.
El Plan.
Yeah, it was very interesting tactics from Alpine, but fair play.
I mean, the clip I saw, I think it was Friday. I think it was Pierre Gasly was following Alonso out of the final couple of corners. He's got the DRS on him. He's started to gain a little bit. They then get out into the straight, and Alonso just pulls away. And Gasly's got the slipstream, got the DRS, and Alonso's just sodding off down the straight.
Yeah, it's pretty mad.
It's incredible.
It's an absolute rocket ship, but they were so slow in the corners as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, free practice, though, nothing I mean, you get sort of the typical, someone grazes the wall. I think the only really sort of quite funny thing, to be honest, was Alex Albon somehow managing to crash in a straight line.
Yeah, he just completely lost concentration. Was looking at his steering wheel. Next thing, he's grazed the wall on the the entry of turn 18. Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, which is not even league races do that. So, I mean, it depends what leagues you're looking at. I guess I'm sure it's happened before.
Oh yeah,
but there
yeah.
You go.
I'm pretty certain, Jamie, I almost did it in a league race once, to be completely honest with you.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, Perez, Leclerc, your typical drivers looking fast after free practice. Then, of course, we move into qualifying, and I think it was last year, wasn't it? We had 3 red flags?
4 red flags.
4 red flags, sorry, during qualifying. So we were expecting a lot of carnage once again. And let's be fair, if you're going to expect carnage in a Formula 1 qualifying session, there's really 2 drivers you look at, isn't it? They both hark from Canada.
Yes, and they often are the cause of red flags, and that was no different in Q1 in Baku with Lance Stroll. To be fair to him, I put a bit of blame on the team as well, but he made the mistake in turn 7, sorry, on his outlap, straight into the wall, didn't get damage, or if he did, it was incredibly minor on the front wing, was able to reverse out and carry on, but they didn't have time to box him and make him go again, so the team told him just to do his lap, where his preparation involved hitting a wall, which, to be fair, was good preparation because he did it again at turn 2.
Exactly, he knew what to do then.
So, yeah.
I mean, it just looked to me, to be honest, like he completely overestimated the grip he'd have into turn 2.
Yeah, I reckon his tyres weren't really
they were flat
prepared
definitely.
Very well. They were flat spotted and cold because he had spent half the lap reversing out of a tyre barrier on his outlap rather than warming the tyres up. So yeah, very strange one, but that caused a red flag with 2.5 minutes left, which we gave some drivers a bit of a headache. And some other drivers had a bit of fun, like Alonso. He's just here to wind people up at this point of his career. Really.
I mean, that has got to just be El Plan, isn't it? At this point,
it was hilarious.
Is El Plan an anagram in Spanish for penis? Because that's basically all Alonso is doing at this point.
Yeah, he's just here to wind people up, and fair play, it works because Albon was fuming. So, yeah, the restart with 2.5 minutes left. Obviously, it's going to be a scramble to try and get your lap in.
Shades of Monza a couple of years ago.
Monza 19, yeah. Alonso, he did his classic Monaco trick of backing half the pack up again on the outlap, and then once he started, he was on used tyres. I actually watched Johnny Palmer's analysis on this, so I'm very well informed because he's a very good pundit.
And an even better driver.
Yeah, clearly. So, yeah, Alonso started his lap on used options, which obviously you don't really want to do when you're fighting for your life in Q1.
But Alonso wasn't particularly.
No, he was 12th,
quite safe
but he was
up the order, yeah.
He was fairly just had to be safe basically. So he went out for a lap and then spent basically the whole lap looking at his mirrors to see which cars were behind him improving. And then at the point of going into the escape road, he was 1.1 seconds down on his own delta. So yeah, he wasn't going to improve, and he still. What he tried to make out was that he was pushing so hard that he went straight on. A la Nico Rosberg back in Monaco.
I mean, it was an awful acting job when
he didn't even lock up at all. He just oh no, I can't make it.
He just kind of jiggled the steering wheel around. I was honestly amazed because let's be fair, if that was Hamilton, if that was Verstappen, if that was Charles Leclerc,
if that was anyone important,
they would have been absolutely destroyed by F1 fans, pundits, and things like that. But because
I genuinely think. Obviously, it's a long time ago, but the 2006 Monaco was less obvious of this.
Action. Yeah, I was going to say the same
thing. And Schumacher
thing.
got shoved to the back of the grid back then when the FIA were run by Ferrari and Schumacher still got penalised.
Yeah. I mean,
it was very... I don't know how he got away with it.
And I mean, I think the best thing about it as well was his interview afterwards, wasn't it?
What did he say? I didn't see that.
Can you tell us what happened? He went, I made a mistake. And then just walks off.
Oh, what a guy. Alonso is very funny at this point. He's just here for the vibes only.
Literally, El Plan this year, it just seems to be get in people's way and upset Mercedes as much as possible.
Oh, another thing. I don't know if it's in the notes. I haven't checked. Before Baku, every team or every driver, voted on whether the FIA should step in on porpoising or not. it was a unanimous decision that the FIA should do something about porpoising. Apart from one driver, Fernando Alonso was that driver.
Yeah, Alonso's like, yeah, don't care.
He's like, nah, Hamilton's back can do one.
Hamilton probably does have a bad back carrying Alonso back in 07.
Wow.
Anyway, we'll
move on from that one.
We'll move on from that one. So yeah, Alonso unleashes L plan means no one can improve, so he safely makes it through into Q2 there. So it was your fairly typical drivers, both Haas, both Williams, and Lance Stroll, of course, after stacking it out in Q1. Q2 had less sort of drama. You had Sebastian Vettel making a very similar mistake, actually, to Sir Lancelot there. Ended up going down at turn 15, wasn't it? Thought he had a brake-by-wire failure, but that wasn't the case. It looked like he missed his braking point. And yeah, just then, of course, had a brake-by-wire failure because the car won't... Aston Martin did explain it, but obviously the car then won't do certain things when it's at too low a speed. And then, yeah, unfortunately, that was both McLaren's, both Alfa Romeo's and Ocon out in Q2. Got to give a shout-out, though, here, Jamie. Zhou Guanyu, miles quicker than Bottas throughout the entirety of the weekend.
I'm clipping. I'm watching this replay.
I mean, I know wheel, Jamie, and that's a straight fact. Bottas this weekend was just not there, and Zhou Guanyu
wasn't on it. I absolutely loved it. Zhou was really quick all weekend. Up until the point where his car stopped working, which we'll get onto later.
Yes,
But yeah, it's been difficult for me to not defend him, but like the gap in qualifying especially has been quite outrageous at some points. But he is a rookie, and Bottas is obviously a very good qualifier.
Yep.
But it's nice to see Zhou actually be on top of the car from the get-go and really, show that he's got some potential, some like his ability to be there is actually good, because up until this point, it's been like, yeah, he's decent, but he's clearly a long way off Bottas.
Yes, yeah. And because of that, it now just means one driver this year is yet to out-qualify their teammate.
Is that Leclerc and Sainz? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
I mean, Latifi's is a bit eggy, because, of course, I'm pretty certain it's just Albon's disqualification. Yeah. So Latifi's been absolutely saved there. And then we got into Q3, of course. And again, I don't think it was a major surprise, was it? Particularly Q3.
No.
I mean, it was interesting, don't get me wrong. But like we said, this was a week ago now, so we're just going to quickly run through it. Leclerc did end up going fastest ahead of both Red Bulls there. But it looked like Red Bull, as we've often seen this year, with a track with long straights, Red Bull have just got better race pace. Sainz P4 there, maybe acting as a rear gunner, ahead of Russell, Gasly, Lewis, Tsunoda, Seb, and Fernando Alonso are rounding out the top 10 there. So AlphaTauri, I was looking at them thinking...
Yeah, they were good.
This could be a spicy race, because they've got a very, very good car, top-end speed.
Another thing, it was the first time since the back end of 2018, since Verstappen was last out-qualified by a teammate twice in a row.
Yes.
That's a fun fact for you.
I was going to say, if you said out-qualified, because obviously I thought Monaco and Jeddah. Checo this year. I'm loving it so far.
Fair play.
I'm loving it so far. Then, of course, we move into Sunday, Jamie. And before the racing had even got going, Nicholas Latifi got a penalty.
Yes. It was so weird that I don't know if you should blame him. Like, I don't know why they pushed him back. Like, what was the problem?
I don't think you can blame Latifi.
No. His car was just on the grid, and then the chief mechanic comes over and pushes him back about 2 yards after the 5-minute warning. So he got a 10-second stop-go immediately.
And I mean, Latifi getting a 10-second stop-go like that, it is just the meme of the guy pouring a bottle of water for himself in a swimming pool, isn't it? Yeah. Because he was going to finish last either way. And to be fair, I don't think this is a major spoiler. He did finish last when all was said and done there. But drama at the start, Jamie. Sergio Perez steamrolls up the inside of Charles Leclerc, and Leclerc locks up, does a very, very good job, it must be said, not to run off down at turn 1. I thought we could have seen shades of last year. But Perez immediately takes the lead off him.
Yeah, the first time that the leader swapped hands before turn 1 in Baku ever.
The first time the leader swapped hands in the first lap in Baku ever.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Every time before now, Pole has led the end of the first lap.
Yeah, last year it was only that one lap. By the end of lap 2, Leclerc wasn't leading anymore.
Yep.
But there we go.
But yeah, I mean, even more impressively though, everyone survived the start. A fairly undramatic start in Baku. Who would have thought we saw that coming?
Yeah, and it kind of immediately died down a little bit. Obviously, we wait until lap 3 before anything happens for DRS anyway.
Yes,
but it wasn't the most entertaining start. All the gaps it was shaded to 2021, where the gaps just immediately go to like 2 seconds each.
Yeah.
Until lap 9, when we all think science has done a science and gone looking for some gravel and not found any. But unfortunately for him, it was a mechanical problem. So yeah, 4th place to 0 points again for what is 3rd DNF of the season.
Yep.
Which is in 8 races, not where you want to be really. So unfortunately for science, I think it's brake by wire or something.
No, it was a hydraulics failure in the end.
Yeah.
If you'd read the podcast notes, I do actually have it right there for you.
Unlucky. Yeah, so one Ferrari out already, as we saw in Spain, where another mechanical DNF there, and another one in Baku, and obviously later on in the race, a third one in 4 races.
Yes, yeah.
Or 3 races. No, Spain, Monaco. Yeah.
Yeah, third one in 3 races, isn't it?
Which is not the best when at the start of the year it was all about Red Bull being terrible on reliability, but how the turntables, as they say.
I can't work out if you're trying to make a reference there to The Office.
Oh, I am,
but
I've never seen The Office.
Okay, that's
but
fine.
I do know the reference, so there we go.
But yeah, I mean, so obviously, Sainz down the escape road at turn 4, that brings out the virtual safety car, and this is where I thought, Leclerc lost that lead off the start. You think maybe now he can battle it up against the Red Bulls still, because he pits under the VSC onto a set of hards, whereas both Red Bulls stay out. It also meant Sebastian Vettel jumped Hamilton in the pit lane because both Mercedes boxed as well. And it looked like, a lot of people had gone onto the hard tyres. Had Red Bull thrown it away early on, we'll find out in just a minute.
I did think at that point that Leclerc had got the upper hand because, well, from what I know in any league racing or back in the day, the hard tyres go forever at Baku. There's not much tyre wear.
Not quite this weekend.
No.
Everyone was saying 40 laps was going to be brave.
Yeah, but Leclerc effectively got a cheap pit stop. He was only about 10 seconds behind the Red Bulls.
Yes.
And I thought if there was no more VSCs, no more safety cars, Leclerc was going to win because the Red Bulls were going to come out so far behind on the same set of tyres, just a lot younger.
I think it could have... I sort of had in my head it was either going to go one or 2 ways. Either Leclerc then gets a 10-second lead, they spend a couple of laps taking a bit of time out of him, and then the pace just levels out. Or, they were going to keep taking time out of him, and then late on in the day, he was going to pit and try and close back up. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, as we'll discuss in just a moment, as already mentioned, that didn't quite happen.
The intrigue of the race was lost.
Was quickly destroyed. We did, though, get to see a bit of battling going on further back. Lap 13, Sebastian Vettel tries a brave move around the outside of Esteban Ocon and does his best Alonso impression from Saturday, and unfortunately goes down the escape road. Does do a brilliant little spin to recover it, though.
Yeah, it was a good recovery because we've seen drivers have to DNF because they can't get out of the escape roads before. But yeah, Seb did very well to do a little flick spin, get back in the track, and only lost a couple of places as well, so not the worst for him.
And to be fair, down at turn 3, we've actually seen some iconic moments, haven't we?
Daniel Ricciardo parallel parking?
Daniel Ricciardo with his parallel parking, i.e. crash into Daniel Kvyat in reverse. And
Sainz just getting distracted by Tsunoda crashing himself.
I hadn't actually remembered that one. I was thinking of probably the most iconic moment.
Oh no, where's this going?
Raggers in F2.
Where
he cooked his engine trying to do a 1,000,000-point turn.
What a guy.
Oh, good
Shout
times.
out to
Good
Mahavir.
times. Yeah, Matt, if you want to come on the podcast, Mahavir, we will
That'd
quite
be
happily
amazing.
have you on. But yeah, whilst we got Sebastian Vettel trying to make moves in the midfield, lap 15, Max Verstappen, a brave little move up the inside of his teammate Sergio Perez, although immediately we kind of all got the vibe, wasn't it, that the Red Bull after Jos Verstappen's comments. Yeah, Jos Verstappen was definitely on Sergio's pit crew this week because all his pit stops were just slower enough that he then wouldn't be able to undercut Max back for the lead.
Yeah, I think we can clearly see where Red Bull are putting their eggs this year, which is, as expected, into Verstappen's basket. Yeah. So it's unfortunate for Checo, but I think that's just the way it is when you're fighting another team quite hard.
Or
You've
not
got to
this
back
weekend.
One driver. Yeah, not this weekend, but over the season you expect it to play out like that, at least, unless Ferrari keep being Ferrari. But yeah, Verstappen, I mean, it's a fairly okay move, but yeah, Checo was told not to fight. But I do think,
Yes,
again, like Spain, Verstappen probably would have won anyway.
Exactly. I mean, we can all talk about team orders, this, that, and the other, but this weekend, Verstappen was quicker, clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, whilst all this is going on, though, Hamilton gets past Ocon, which was a good little move down at turn 3.
Very hard to pass an Alpine
Exactly.
as well.
I mean, he spent a good 5-6 laps just stuck behind him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we see Perez and Verstappen pit, everything like that. So Max pits end of lap 19 and comes out not right behind Charles Leclerc, about 10 seconds back. And you think, great, the race is on. It's going to get spicy. And on the very same lap, it goes bang.
Yeah. And then all of the remaining intrigue of the race of who's going to win is just taken out of the equation. Which at that point I was like, it was funny because I'm obviously a Red Bull fan, so I like seeing Ferrari fans suffer on Twitter. But yeah, it kind of ruined the race. It was not that interesting from that point onwards.
It was a complete vibe killer, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like, oh, I guess that's that with 30 laps to go.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
We all knew what was going to happen from that point onwards.
Exactly, it was just going to be the Red Bull show to the checkered flag. That being said, though, did still get a bit more action going on down the midfield. Sebastian Vettel, lap 25, does finally make the move stick on Esteban Ocon, as unfortunately, Zhou Guanyu, it all comes to an end once more.
I'm very, very sad still.
Even I felt gutted for him this weekend, I'll
he
be honest.
was behind Vettel. He was the next car to overtake Ocon, who was I think he was out of sync with pit stops.
Yes.
But yeah, Joe was the next car to overtake Ocon. It's right behind Vettel. Vettel finished P6 in the end. There's no reason why Joe couldn't repass Vettel as well. Even so, P7, P6.
Well, he didn't have a car that worked. That was the reason why.
That was the main problem, really. But yeah, it's so unfortunate because this was the most obvious opportunity for points, but he had the same in Miami. And what was the other race he broke? Spain, he broke down as well, both on the fringes of the points, like 12th, 13th.
Yeah. Those it could have been if things went right, he could have got points.
If things went right for him, he could have got points. This one, he absolutely would have got P7 at least, I think.
Yeah. So, I think as well, wasn't it? This should have probably been his breakthrough weekend, shouldn't it?
Yeah, a bit like what Leclerc had in his rookie season. Like
Baku, yeah.
Baku, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It should have been another sour repeat there,
But you know what? He will come back stronger, and I back him for Canada.
We'll wait and see whether he'll come back stronger than Bottas again. That opportunity, that ship might have sailed now for this year.
Well, that's it. Career done.
No, not like that. But I think this was definitely an outlier of where it's clear of Bottas. Then, of course, we see Lewis Hamilton jump Daniel Ricciardo, who's way out of sync with the rest of the field, running up in P5 there. He must have had a nosebleed running that high up the order. As then, our fourth Ferrari failure of the race. Oh, dearie me.
My third fantasy driver to have a mechanical retirement, as K-Mag breaks down going out of the castle section. Wasn't a great day for my fantasy team, really, as we'll come on to later.
Not good, really, for them.
Did you find out what our pit lane reporter said what that issue was?
I think it was, again, just another engine failure. I think Zhou's was something slightly different.
Yeah.
But K-Mag's was just, another engine failure. And to be honest, really from then, most of the race got pretty boring, didn't it? Like we said.
Yeah.
Now, after we had those
I was
couple
just
more
scrolling
failures...
Twitter, making some banging tweets. Follow me on Twitter.
I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, Jamie, your Twitter @ is linked in every single one of these videos, so if you're not already gaining a lot of followers, I'm not convinced that cheeky plug's going to do you any favours.
No, it won't make a difference at this point.
I guess, the only sort of other fun thing that happened then, really, wasn't it? Well, two fun things, was Yuki Tsunoda and his whole DRS gate.
Yeah, that was such a weird failure, because his rear wing literally split in half, and only half of it open with DRS, which is obviously a technical, failure.
That's a meatball flag, if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, got the meatball flag from the FIA, the black and orange disc one. Had to pit, and then instead of just, retiring him, since he was by the time he was going to pit anyway, he was going to be out of the points quite comfortably, they decided to put some gaffer tape on it and send him on his way.
And make sure they sent him on his way before an FIA delegate got to the car to have a look, which I thought was hilarious.
Which, to be fair to them, it didn't break after that. So gaffer tape sales through the roof.
Exactly.
It's strong enough to withstand 200 miles an hour.
It's a complete throwback, isn't it? I want to say it was Red Bull Suzuka 2009
Yes.
When they
the
had
headrest.
to gaffer tape down Mark Webber's headrest, wasn't it? Why I
Twice
know
in
that.
3 laps. Yeah.
Why I know that, whoever knows. But yeah, that was like the last time I can sort of remember gaffer
Also,
tape.
I wasn't gaffer tape, but it was DRS failure. Bahrain 2013 for Alonso.
Yes.
Where he had to pit on lap 2 for a DRS failure. They closed the flap but didn't secure it. He then opens it again and it breaks again, so he pits again. And they just push it flat, and he's told not to use it.
But yeah,
so
just don't touch
DRS
it.
failures. There's always just something quite funny about them.
I mean, it happens all the time on the F1 game, and to be fair, it has happened now twice this year.
Well,
Max
Suzuka
Verstappen's
2017, Hulkenberg Suzuka 2017 got stuck open.
Of course, you can remember a Hulkenberg.
I can remember that one. Yeah, he was on for points there. Shock.
Wasn't on for a podium though. Not so shocking.
Ricciardo in testing for his first season in Renault, where he opened the DRS flap and it just flew off. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that one.
Yeah, that was some fun times. We love a DRS failure, but
We know
unfortunately,
far too many DRS failures.
because he was actually on for points. To be fair to him,
Yes.
AlphaTauri, as you said, doing very well. I think he was on for 6th.
He would have been sort of 7th or 8th,
yeah.
thereabout. He was in that battle, wasn't he?
Yeah,
between a lot of those drivers. And then, really sort of the last thing we had on the notes was Hamilton had to pit again onto fresh tyres later on in the race. Was
That was
not
VSC,
happy.
wasn't it?
Yeah, under another VSC. And then Latifi, who's already way behind everyone after serving his penalty on lap 1, gets another penalty for ignoring blue flags.
Yeah, the classic.
Which was
Just
quite
Latifi
funny.
things.
Exactly. But that meant then, when all was said and done in Azerbaijan, Max Verstappen won the Grand Prix ahead of Sergio Perez, and George Russell bagging another podium for Mercedes.
Yeah.
He's now just 16 points behind Leclerc in the championship.
Yeah. Still no finishes outside the top 5. He's going for a proper J183 league racing campaign.
Oh, if he somehow manages to put himself in title contention through all this, he's kind of going to be mad, isn't it?
Yeah, 0 wins, only finishing 3rd, 4th or 5th. We love that from George.
What a season by George. Fair play to him, though. He's getting the job done. Hamilton did finish P4, though, with an absolutely destroyed back.
And an Oscar on the way for the way he got out of the car.
Yes, I must admit, I'm a big Hamilton fan. We're not going to argue against that. But I did wonder whether there might have been a little bit of dramatization.
Like, I don't like this guy's
a
a professional athlete. Like the other 19 drivers. But obviously porpoising. Well, Russell was porpoising equally as much. Other drivers had less.
He wasn't porpoising as much.
No, it's true. But there's no way that one driver's back is in pieces and the rest of them can get out the car fine. I just don't buy it.
I think it's a very fine line, isn't it, Jamie? Because we say this, but we both completely understand, it is a big potential safety risk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There was the footage as well. I don't know if you saw Hamilton trying to go through the final chicane, and the car almost completely breaks free from underneath it as it porpoises. It's an issue that desperately needs to get sorted, which we will be discussing in just a few minutes. But yeah, you wonder sort of whether there is a little bit of gamesmanship coming from Mercedes, so the FIA do fix it in a way that works for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hamilton came through P4 though, so another solid haul of points for Mercedes. Gasly 5th, Seb 6th. Got to give him credit there. He has
Since we rinsed him after Australia, he's been on
a fine run of form. Alonso 7th, Daniel Ricciardo, Lando Norris, after having by far and away the slowest car down the straights, made the strategy work there.
Yeah, super weird team orders at McLaren this weekend as well.
I think they were just trying to make everyone happy and ended up upsetting everyone, didn't they?
Yeah, but Ricciardo's back with his P8. The fans can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to leave now. And then, Esteban Ocon rounding out the top 10 there. So if Zhou Guanyu was going to sit behind Ocon all day, where was this P7 you were on about?
Well, he was behind Vettel and Ocon started to pit. So
okay. Well, we'll believe you for now. And that result then meant Max Verstappen now has the most podiums ever for Red Bull.
Which seems insane to me. Obviously, when you think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah, entirely.
But the domination that Vettel had, where especially 11, 12, 13, especially 11 and 13, he barely missed a podium in either of those seasons.
Yeah.
And that seems like that for at the time when we were kids felt like such a long period of Sebastian Vettel domination.
Yes.
And the fact that Verstappen has now had one title challenging season and this is his second, and he's already equaled the number of podiums. It just shows, I think, just how good he was in like 18, 19, 20, just picking up podiums all the time.
Well, 20, he was basically guaranteed a podium every race.
Yeah, 20 was such a weird year.
20 was just the Hambot Ver season.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just trying to do the maths in my head. Sebastian Vettel spent 7 seasons at Red Bull, didn't he? No, 6 seasons.
09.
09, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
6 seasons, yeah.
6 seasons, yeah. Max is already there for pretty much his 7th now, isn't he? He's already 7 seasons in.
Yeah, this is his 7th.
Yeah. So it's actually not that surprising, to be honest, to me.
Yeah,
in
but
many
in my
ways.
head, the Red Bull.
Yeah, no, exactly. When you sort of read that stat, you think that's
Yeah.
incredible. But then when you actually sort of do a bit of a deeper dive, I mean,
And the seasons are longer now, obviously, and everything.
Exactly. So. And I mean, there was even more discussion this week, wasn't it, now? Because obviously he's the youngest driver to hit 25 wins and all this, that, and the other. But that's a conversation for another day. I think, to be honest, the maddest thing about that is the fact that Max has now been at Red Bull longer than Seb ever was.
Yeah, he's got the most. I think he's got the most races for Red Bull.
Ricardo. No, Ricardo
wasn't there
Webber,
for that long. No.
Webber, no.
It would either be Webber or Verstappen.
Yeah, Webber was there for nearly 10 years, wasn't he?
It was
he
only
must have the most stuff.
07 till 2013.
Was he there? Oh, I thought he was there from 06.
No, it was DC and.
Yeah, it was Clean, wasn't it? Yeah, 06. Yeah, no, it was only 07 to 013. Yeah, fair enough. Max must be right there then for most Red Bull starts.
And he's only 24 years old.
Yeah, and he's going to be there for the rest of his career, which is kind of insane. I do really wonder whether this will completely shift the narrative of drivers retiring in their early or mid-30s in the future.
Nah, Max will go forever.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to. He's already said he don't want
to.
Which I wonder if there's a lot of that playing up to the fact that if he doesn't beat Hamilton's records with the potential to have a 20-year career, then he just go, well, I never really was that interested. Because, let's be fair, they're all Formula 1 drivers. They all want to win every world title they possibly can. But again, that's a discussion for another day. Driver of the day then, Jamie. Hamilton won the official vote, which I was quite happy with, and I don't think he didn't deserve it. I think he was certainly... He didn't deserve it any less than anyone else, I'd say.
Yeah. He drove all right, yeah. There wasn't really a standout candidate.
No, exactly. I mean, I actually ran my own driver of the day vote this week on the channel. Let me have a quick look, see if I can find what our results were. I'll just have a look quickly. Yeah, who was your driver of the day, Jamie?
I think I would... I think I gave it to Pierre Gasly, to be honest. No bias involved. And I'd shout out Guan Yu Zhou, because he definitely would have been my driver of the day had his car finished. But no, Gasly drove really well. Could have been P4 with a bit more luck or a few less laps in the race. But yeah, drove super well. Definitely king of the midfield. In terms of best of the rest, after the top 3 teams you expect. And never really looked in doubt that he was going to finish the best of the rest all weekend in a car which probably, it maybe was the 4th quickest this weekend, but it usually is nowhere near that. So fair play, Gasly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a look quickly through our poll. I was going to say Gasly's a good shout. Zhou Guan Yu's a good shout. Seb as well, is a very, very good shout.
Yeah.
And in fact, in the vote I did, I ran it between Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton, and Vettel. Vettel got 60% of the votes, and this was 16,000 people voted on this. So clearly, I've still got a lot of Seb fanboys.
I don't know how. They must not watch the podcast.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
They'd have all left if they heard this.
And just I dip below 50k again.
Yeah.
Just immediately. Let's go then, Jamie. Should we do predictions recap next?
Oh, yes.
Let's not discuss that this week, because that is the eggiest thing I have ever seen in my life.
If I want to find, if anyone has a website where you can look at retrospective betting odds, I reckon it would be over 100 to 1 to get all 3 in the right position. I said Verstappen, Perez, Russell last week, Monday.
To paint the picture, Jamie went into the Azerbaijan weekend with a 10-point lead over me in our mini predictions league. Remember,
because I've been playing it fairly safe and just getting stuff right.
2 points if you get it right, and 1 point if you get the top 3, the correct driver but in the wrong place. Jamie this week got 6 points. He got the top 3 bang on, which I don't think, unless we did have a Hambot verse season, I don't think either of us were going to call it. And it wasn't even like you just picked. It
wasn't even a likely podium. No.
You just went Verstappen, Perez, Russell through pure eggery.
What can I say?
I mean, I got 3 points, which does mean you're now on 35 and I'm on 22.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Matt.
It is.
But you know
not
what?
Looking good. Do you want to update the scores on our Discord call before I forget as well?
Yeah, I will do that.
It's not looking good for me, and I mean we'll do
I can't. It's on your message.
Okay. We'll do it afterwards. That's fine then. I mean we'll do the predictions again in just a moment, but that is pure egg from Jamie183. Speaking of pure egg, let's go in then to our fancy recap from last week.
Oh, it's all looking good for me.
Because let's give a bit of a background story to this, Jamie. You messaged me, I think it was Sunday night, wasn't it, as well, bragging about how well you'd done in F1 Fantasy, despite the fact you'd had 3 drivers DNF.
3 drivers and my constructor got a double DNF.
You failed to mention the fact you used your Mega Driver.
I did. I saw Verstappen had a cheeky little race streak, so I was like, screw it, and stuck the Mega on him. Very annoyed when he qualified behind his teammate. But it worked out well. He got the race win. Cheeky little 162 points from Verstappen alone.
And that's nearly twice as much as my entire team scored.
And 188 for the week because the rest of my team had an absolute nightmare. With Gasly did well, for 5th place, fair play. And then Leclerc Turbo, obviously DNF. Guan Yu Zhou, DNF. Magnussen, DNF. Ferrari, double DNF. But yeah, Verstappen carried me. I was doing my best Red Bull 2019-2020 impression, with Verstappen scoring something like 86% of my points. So yeah, how did you do, Matt?
I would rather not talk about it. I got 95 points this week.
Oof, that's not looking good.
Was 38 for Sergio. I thought on paper, looking at this, I'm probably going to do quite well this week because I thought I got 2 of the podium on there. That's got to be a lot of points. I got 38 for Checo, 34 for George. Fair enough. I also got Albon, who did have a pretty decent race.
Yeah,
he got me 17 points. Unfortunately, I had Turbo Charles Leclerc, which bagged me 10, Ferrari, which bagged me 3, and K-Mag with -7. 95 points for the week. And the problem is, I'm going to have to use my Mega Driver on Charles Leclerc, and I don't see a weekend where he's going to be able to dominate.
No, you're looking at Austria for Verstappen, I think, but I'm
going to have to use Verstappen at Austria.
That's a whole team upheaval. But yeah, if we have a quick look at the little Azerbaijan rundown.
I mean, my risky team got 142. I just want to give a quick shout out to that. I had Turbo Alonso 44, Ricciardo 18, Sainz 0, sadly. Pierre and Lewis both were 26, and then I had Aston Martin that netted me a cheeky 28 points.
Aston Martin is a team. That must be 0.1% owned.
Yeah, well, it's my risky team.
Yeah, fair play.
Let's find the league. How do I find the league?
The top 10 of this week, you're absolute maniacs. If you did well this week, you're just a bit weird. Because to be fair, this is actually quite a good team. I'll take that back. The number 1 of the week had Verstappen Mega. Only geniuses did that. Gasly, like myself, Bottas Turbo, Albon, and Magnussen. So the number 1 still got -7 from K-Mag. And then Red Bull with their little 1-2 getting 77. Which I really want to make the move from Ferrari to Red Bull, but that's a 12 million difference or something.
Yeah, I'm after a big reshuffle.
It's quite hard. But that was Leora H and Thatcher B on 303 with, I assume, the same team.
It was a good week for the Brits.
And Zane D as well on 303 with, again, the same team. Exactly, actually. 303 was the highest score. I actually came in your league 173rd.
Which would almost be impressive if there weren't people that outscored you without using their Mega.
Oh, yeah. But I had 5 out of 7 DNFs and came 173rd.
Yeah, fair enough. He got 233 points here. He turboed Perez, had Red Bull, Alonso, Ricciardo, Bottas and Gasly. This is, Joseph E, who came 20th. That's insane. Continue on, though, Jamie, with the rundown of our top 10 from this week.
We got Hansen L on 299 in 4th place. Let's have a quick look. I assume it's similar, but Ocon and Schumacher, actually. Interesting combo. Instead of Gasly and K-Mag. And actually took a -10, so he would have been the best of the week, but did too many transfers. Unlucky. Barnby S, Finn G, Herman L, Quentz G, Maynard G, and Daniel D round out the top 10, all of which using their Mega Drivers, I assume, on Max Verstappen, but I don't want to check all of them.
No, exactly. I'm sorry, I'm just quickly having a look as well. Where did you say you ranked this weekend?
173.
So I've still had a better one-off ranking than this year.
Wait, what?
Australia.
That's like worldwide.
No.
Oh no, it is in your league.
In our league, yeah.
I look, yeah.
In Australia, I came
myself.
154th. So I've still got the best single ranking so far this year.
One-off result.
Yeah. Having a look though at the overall league, Canadians might not be the best drivers in Formula 1, but they're still absolutely dominating the fantasy league.
It's a Canada 1-2.
Yeah, Larry T on 1,915 points there. He's 116 clear of anyone else in the league, which is pretty much about 2 race weekends for me at the moment. Tim still in P2 there with Scuderia Wickham, and then Sim F with Sim Racing in P3. Lord of the Wings, quality team in there with Jack in P4, and then we got Burnaby in 5th. Mansell's Mustache Max T there, still with his Mega Drive to use.
Still Mega.
Save
it for Austria. There's your Scout inside info.
Exactly, just use it in Austria. 1 point ahead of Carlos. We've then got Sid V, Brad W, and Oliver T still rounding out our top 10 there, Jamie. Where do you rank? Oh, how many points have you got now? We must be very close.
Overall, I'm on 1460.
So I'm only 58 points behind you, and I've still got a Mega Drive to use.
Yeah, but knowing you, you're Mega Drive for Verstappen and your DNF.
Knowing my luck, yes, that is definitely what will happen. So yeah, looking forward to that. I mean, if I nailed my Mega Drive, it's worth like 100 bonus points.
Yeah.
I could still very easily be sort of...
But the thing is, the Mega Drive can be so, like, variance central, because, I was very happy with, obviously, Megaing the race-winning driver. Even though he obviously could have got more points had it been a sprint weekend, had he beaten his teammate in qualifying.
Do you get more if it's a sprint weekend?
It's like 3 points or something more, so
enough.
it's not really worth. No. But it wasn't like the most points I could have got, but I'm very happy with 162 from the Mega.
Exactly.
So can't complain.
Yeah, so there we go then. That is our...
And what position are you, sorry, in your...
1,100th.
Oh, I'm 709. Get done.
So there's not many points in it, is there? But you've used your Mega, and I'm still inside the top third, so I'll take that. 4,430 of you now in the league is kind of madness as well. I just want to quickly say, can we get that to 4.5k?
Another link in the description for Matt to put in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always in the description, F1 Fantasy.
Oh, lovely.
It's linked everywhere. Let's then, Jamie, a race rating for Baku.
Ooh, it really wasn't good. I didn't enjoy it I enjoyed it because Verstappen won, but that was really the only reason. So I'd give it a little 5 out of 10.
I was going to say, it's a bit difficult, isn't it? Because Baku, we kind of always expect it to be carnage as well. But even when you sort of try to look at it as a standard weekend, it wasn't that dramatic. So I think
it really wasn't.
5 or a 6 is probably fair at the end of the day. Let's get on then, Jamie. One of the benefits we have had this week of delaying the podcast till Thursday is we have got 3 massive news stories to go through.
Yeah, and we'll try and rattle through to getting on a bit of time frame wise. But it looks like the whispers are in the paddock that Alonso is going to sign a new contract for Alpine. For 2023, which in turn they've agreed to find a seat for Oscar Piastri, which was always going to happen.
They'd already agreed to it, hadn't they?
Yeah,
was the thing.
Yeah.
They'd said last year, he was like, I'll have 1 year on the sidelines, otherwise I'm setting shop elsewhere.
Yeah, so he is, it looks like, going to Williams for 2023 with Albon, and Latifi will be out, which I don't think anyone will really be that sad about, other than Nutella, maybe. But it'll be interesting to see, because that will mean that both Alpine drivers are out of contract in 2023.
Does
which
it?
I think so.
Ocon's 24. Yeah.
But even so, they're going to be comparing like for like the performances of the Alpine drivers versus Piastri.
Yes.
Which will be very interesting to see who they try and dispose if Piastri is incredible.
Alonso.
I don't know.
It's
Ocon needs to kick on. He's getting on a bit, and he's not really done
Alonso,
very much still.
No, you can't. Ocon has been more than a fair match for Alonso this year.
He has, but is he going to be like...
Alonso's nearly 60. Get him out.
I don't know. I'll be interested to see. I think they like Alonso more than like Ocon.
I think you like Alonso more than you like Ocon.
Oh, yeah, I definitely do.
I think they can. There won't be a world in which they get rid of Ocon and keep Alonso again. Especially after they've signed this long-term deal with Ocon. It just won't happen. The other interesting thing, though, about that deal, of course, Jamie, is there is more and more talks now. We could see Williams Renault back together.
Yeah,
Now, they
that'd be
had some
cool.
iconic cars. I mean, it didn't quite work for McLaren and Honda, but
No.
Williams Renault could be... I mean, let's be fair. What it'll be is Renault are going, look, you stick him in our car, we'll give you some dirt cheap engines.
Yeah, and the engines, unless it's just the drag on the Alpines, are absolutely nothing. But the engines do seem pretty good. So I don't know if they're better than Mercedes, but they certainly wouldn't be any worse.
I'd say I would probably still think they're the worst on the grid, but I can't imagine there's much difference between any of them anymore.
No, it's true. Apart from all the Ferraris which break down.
Yes, yeah, of course, because they're Italian.
Isn't great.
But Oscar
Yeah, so that's the
Piastri,
first big bit of news.
he needs that F1 gig next year, doesn't he? I mean, there are some speculation, isn't it, that he could be in the seat before next year.
But there's always that at this time of year, isn't there?
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised.
Well, I'm not convinced that's going to be the case. And luckily, yeah, two other big things actually got confirmed today, Jamie.
Yeah. So all in the part of the plan to delay the podcast till now. But going hand in hand, we often see this when a driver is about to be confirmed from a certain country, so they extended that country's race. Australia's here until 2035, which is an
insane.
incredibly long. Is it all at, I'm guessing it's at Melbourne for the whole thing?
Yeah. There are a couple of
not going.
caveats as well to that.
What, Daniel?
No, not quite.
Oh.
He's not Australian either.
What are the caveats?
So they've agreed that, and they've agreed that at least 5 of those Grand Prix, they get the season opener.
Oh, nice. That's pretty cool.
Which, around New Albert Park, could get spicy.
Yeah, Albert Park's decent now, so that should be fun. And it's a nice early morning one, so our expectations will be...
Through the roof.
We'll just be really happy to see any F1 cars, so if it is a bad race, we're fine.
Exactly. Weirdly, though, now I'm not sure how I feel about this. Now, on the one hand, I love it. On the other hand, I hate it. F2 and F3 are going to the land down under.
What, you mean those series called European F2 and F3?
They're not European F2 and F3. Well, there's no such thing as European F2, and there is already European F3, Jamie.
Yeah, I guess. But they are traditionally...
Well, Europe and the Middle East.
And the Middle East. So we've gone full Eurovision and just added Australia to it as well. So, yeah. I mean, it will be interesting to see different cars at Australia, because obviously we only ever really have F1 and Aussie supercars, which I'm sure you're a fan of, Matt.
You can't beat a bit Aussie supercars. They are.
So yeah, it'd be cool. But the thing is, they're going to be at such awful times. Obviously, it's good for the Australians and the people in that part of the world, and the people especially at the track. Will be really cool to get more action. But F2 races are going to be like 3 a.m. There's no way people are going to be awake for them in Europe.
It's going to be earlier than that, surely.
Yeah, because the F1 race is at 6, is it not? So that'll be like maybe 2 a.m. UK time that they start the F2 feature on Sunday morning.
And let's not forget, Jamie, there's already ridiculous amounts of talks about trying to save money in F2 and F3, trying to make it more accessible.
Yeah.
And now they've turned around and gone, right, it costs far too much money to run an F2 car this year, but we're going to send you all to Australia for no reason. Yeah. I mean, there's surely... Obviously, we don't know how the inner works. We don't know really how sort of the inner workings are with F2 and F3. But surely now, with the amount of money Liberty are raking in, they've got to start supporting those teams financially. There's got to be an element of they're going to start covering costs here or there.
Because the viewership does seem like it's pretty decent. Like, it must be growing, I think.
Yes.
Because Sky have actually got serious about showing the races now, whereas a couple of years ago they used to cut away.
Yeah.
They used to cut away to, like, repeat interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
Mid-race, but there we go. So, yeah, surely they've got to be some support for the teams.
I mean, my brain's just sort of wondering, whether we potentially see down the line, I mean, there's more and more discussions in there. I know Zach Brown's been very vocal about this recently when they sort of spoke about Andretti. Could we see even more affiliation and potentially a bit of wiggle room in the budget for teams if they support F2 and F3 teams financially? You'd sort of properly have, a Alpine F2 team or an Alpine F3 team.
Yeah. They do a similar thing in football.
Yeah.
Where, like, you can either give your... Like, there's just a money that goes to the FA, which is the football version of the FIA. Or you can give less money to the FA if you agree to support a lower league team, which effectively would be what the F1 teams could do. If, like, the FIA were like, oh, yeah, you can give us your money, or you can go and support an F2 team, which will help them run better. So That would be a cool thing. I think it's too good an idea for the FIA to implement.
I'm just sort of
sadly,
thinking,
but...
you imagine like a Ferrari F2 team or something like that.
Yeah, well, Prima kind of are.
Yeah, I know, obviously, this is the thing, isn't it? You know, Prima
Yeah.
is basically just Ferrari and your prodigy team, basically.
Yeah.
You know, you sort of speak, Mercedes and ART are very closely
Carlin
tied
are
up.
pretty close to Red Bull.
Red Bull, yeah,
That sort of
literally
thing.
sponsor half the grid most years.
Yeah.
Everything like that. You know, High Tech as well, obviously, because of Mazepin, they had very strong ties with Haas over the last few years. But it really does make you wonder sort of where they can go with it, because let's be fair, if you're a Prima, trying to shift 5 cars to Australia is gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think for the most part they just do it in trucks, surely around Europe.
Yeah, it all
So-
pretty much is all trucking.
Yeah. So they're gonna have to find a plane from somewhere, which might be a bit more difficult than they expect. But there we go.
You are so cute. They won't fly Formula cars. They'll be shipped.
Why not?
They don't
That's in Top
fly.
Gear. They're in a Russian airline.
They
That's
don't
fine.
fly the Formula 1.
Why
They
not?
fly small parts, potentially, but they have to ship most of
But
the
they're
cars.
so light. Why don't you stick in
They're
a plane?
massive! Imagine just...
They seriously got a
get,
ship.
Yeah, you get your huge DHL crate.
But how do they get from Baku to Canada in 5 days?
Because a lot of the parts, they'll have 2 separate cars that will get shipped. And things like that.
That's just blowing my mind. Why?
Do you not know this?
I'm gonna make an F1 team and fly all our parts everywhere.
You're going to be bankrupt immediately, mate.
Yeah, you know it.
Right, let's try and get back on track then. Just quickly, our final big news of the week then, Jamie. We spoke about this a lot throughout the show. The FIA apparently are going to fix porpoising. Now, to be fair, there's been a lot of talks this week, hasn't there, Jamie? Because some people are obviously saying, you know, just make it that the teams can't porpoise anymore. But of course, that screws the teams that have nailed the regs. So the FIA have kind of been clever, and in a way that neither of us understand, because we know wheel, we don't know PhD physics, they're going to make it so all of the cars porpoise less, but the teams that did well on the regs are going to be less affected by it.
It's basically, is it not minimum ride height kind of thing?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the teams that don't porpoise, they're doing that because they've been able to make a fast car with a higher ride height.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense because the teams that are running close to the ground are the ones suffering. If they raise their ride height, it will badly affect performance because that's the whole reason that porpoising happens.
I mean,
Because
you
they
just
don't want to
think
raise their ride height.
Mercedes for years ran a high rate car.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect for this.
They try a low rake once and it's just horrendous.
It's just completely screwed them.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
mean, a
I
bit
quite
last year.
I quite like that the FIA have managed to find some sort of solution. I would have been quite annoyed as a Red Bull fan if they'd have been like, oh, everyone's going to be bailed out by our regs. So Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, you're all screwed. You've done a really good job, but unlucky.
Until, of course, something does go badly wrong with it and they all get screwed anyway.
Yeah.
Because there is definitely going to be some controversy around this.
The FIA trying to change rules mid-season never goes particularly
No,
well.
exactly. But, I mean, that is a discussion for another day, isn't it? I think we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Let's get in then, Jamie, before we finish the show quickly. Canada predictions.
Yeah.
And I think, sadly, it's 35-22.
Yes. I like just one last time before we get into predictions. I reckon is it not? I'll let you go first because you're so far behind.
Thank you.
How about that?
We are going to go Leclerc pole.
Wait. One more bit of news. I don't know if you saw it. Leclerc is probably taking power unit penalties.
Okay, we're not going Leclerc pole. Yeah, of course, I forgot about that. We're going to say then Verstappen pole.
10-place penalty for Leclerc, by the way, this weekend.
Oh, okay. Verstappen pole. Verstappen Perez.
Is that it?
Sainz.
Just 2 drivers on the podium. Oh, no,
Sainz.
Sainz. Okay.
I'm gonna say I was really umming and ahhing between Sainz and Russell.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so we're counting pole as the actual pole position award, not the fastest qualifier.
No, we're counting pole as the guy that starts the grid from first.
Okay. I really want to say Perez.
Do it.
Pole position will be
You got like a
Carlos
13-point lead.
Sainz.
Oh dear God. I wanted you to go risky, not stupid.
Race winner will be Maximiliano Verstappen.
Maximilian Emilian. What's his middle
Yeah,
name?
Emilian. Yeah,
It is Emilian.
yeah. That's why I said it.
What a name.
Yeah, good parenting. No,
Oh
definitely
dear
not.
God. That is a bad way to almost end the show.
Verstappen race win.
Okay.
Sainz P2, Leclerc P3.
Oh, what happens to Perez?
Don't know. He falls asleep mid-race. That's
Okay.
what I feel like doing right now.
Fair
so
enough.
Let's end
Luckily
it.
you're not mid-race. What a way to end the show, Jamie. Thank you all so much for listening in, nonetheless. Like we said, we apologise for Jamie off gallivanting on holiday. You know, I will be banning that in his updated
Yeah,
contract
no more
by
holidays
next week.
the rest of the
No
race.
more time off. We will return then, hopefully on Tuesday, with another episode of the podcast. We'll let you into a bit of a secret. We are and ahhing about whether to maybe make this a twice weekly thing. Obviously, when the races are jammed packed like this, just so we can do slightly shorter shows, but then also discuss everything we want to over 2 episodes as well. So let us know down in the comments below your thoughts and feelings about that. But yeah, massive thank you as well, though, from me personally. 54,000 subscribers, that's now been ticked off the list as well. F122 a couple of weeks away. I've got some exciting things to announce before then as well, that I'm really, really looking forward to as well. And yeah, we will be back, though, on hopefully Tuesday, ready to review and recap the Canadian Grand Prix.